Welcome to Bible Lands with Dan Serns. We're here in Capernaum. The village of Nahum is what that means, here on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee. Capernaum was a place where Jesus adopted as his hometown. He had grown up in Nazareth, born in Bethlehem, but Capernaum is where he did most of his miracles. And a number of times it mentions that he would do things in a particular house. We don't know which house it was. It does tell us in Mark.31 that after he had healed a demon-possessed man in the synagogue, which you can see right behind me, that they went over to Peter's home, perhaps under that monument there, and Peter's mother-in-law was very ill. Jesus healed the mother-in-law, and immediately she got up and began to serve. You know, that's what God has called us to, is once he heals us spiritually, we begin to serve other people. Another time it says Jesus was in a house, perhaps this house, when all of a sudden the ceiling began to be peeled back. Perhaps it was some palm branches, we're not really sure. And a man was let down through the roof by 4 of his friends. He was paralyzed. They couldn't get him to Jesus going through the regular way, so they climbed up on the roof, peeled back the roofing material, and let their friend down to Jesus. And Jesus could look at that man and realize that man needed more than physical healing. Inside his heart, he knew he was guilty of so many things. So Jesus began by saying, "My son, your sins are forgiven." Some of the religious leaders said, "How could he say that? Only God can say that," which is true. Only God can forgive sin, but Jesus is God the Son. And so, before it was all said and done, Jesus healed him not only spiritually from the inside out, but healed him physically as well. He got up and went out of that house and went home here to this area. So that could have happened in this house here as well. Another time Jesus was teaching and the people were crowded around. Jesus was so involved with helping the people know about his Father in heaven that the people, he wasn't taking time to eat very much, and his family came and were concerned. And they wouldn't even go in the house to hear him teach. You know, sometimes blood relatives don't have as much faith in you as other believers who are brothers and sisters in the Lord. So they sent messengers into the house telling Jesus to come out so they could talk to him. And when Jesus got the message, he said, "Who are my mother and my brothers and my sisters? They're all of you who are right here among those who do the will of my Father are my mother and brother and sisters." You know, when we are willing to be obedient to the Lord, he counts us as his brothers and sisters and family, even closer than blood relatives could ever be. So here in this little town of Capernaum, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords blessed us with his presence for a few years. Unfortunately, many of the people who were excited about his miracles weren't as excited about his teaching and didn't walk with him. The day came when he said if the miracles that had been done in Capernaum and some of the other nearby towns had been done in the wicked sin cities of Sodom and Gomorrah or Tyre and Sidon had been done there, then they would have repented. So the people here in the days of Jesus were excited at the time, but somehow lost their way. What we want to be sure is that we not only are excited with religious fervor and with wonderful times of worship, but that we're willing to do the will of the Father as revealed in the Holy Scriptures, in the Bible, so that whatever house we're in, whether it's our own house or another house, that is a place where the will of God is done because we've invited Jesus to live in our hearts.